Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I am here to do a couple of things. So last week we talked about how I needed a little bit of a break from my Erin Condren Vertical Life Planner. So I moved into the Erin Condren Petite Daily Planner. It's been working for me. It has been a wonderful change. I felt like I actually am getting more things done. I feel a little bit more freedom to cross things off because I get to turn the page the next day. So it has really been working well for me. And I talked about this a little bit in the weekly vlog, but I'm actually not setting this up for this upcoming week until Monday. It's Monday night right now. I was out of town over the weekend and it just didn't feel right to set up a new planner system way far in advance because who knows, I may have changed my mind by then. So I decided to wait until today. And if it was still working for me, then I was gonna set it up for the upcoming week. Now, when I say setting it up, there is not a whole lot that I'm gonna do to set up. I'm gonna set up tomorrow, Tuesday, but for the most part, I'm doing it one day at a time. And I'll show you kind of how I'm making that work in this planner while still planning for the week ahead. Now, my ultimate goal is if I can make it work, and I think we're gonna try it next week, but I haven't quite decided, is to find some sort of balance between this planner and still using my Erin Condren Vertical. Part of it is I feel like my Erin Condren Vertical lets me look at my week ahead from like a big picture standpoint. I also just like the creativity outlet of playing in my Erin Condren Vertical and using all of my stickers. So we'll see. This week I'm gonna keep it simple and stick with the daily planner still. But before we get into that, we're gonna test out some pens. So last week I used the Papermate Flare, which I do love the way that the Papermate Flare writes on the paper. It's beautiful, it's thick, it doesn't leave a ridge on the other side, but it shadows pretty intensely. Let me try and find like a back page where you can see, like there's a pretty thick shadow and I just really, it bothers me. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna test out all of these pens. And I do have some high standards. I really would like to find a pen that is pretty thick, that does not leave a ridge on the other side, and that does not shadow terribly. I anticipate there being some shadow because this paper is not the greatest paper. Now, the new Erin Condren Daily Petite Planners for 2020 that she's released, they supposedly have thicker paper than this. I do have some, but I have not taken them out of the plastic and played with them yet. I just need to figure out a pen to get me through the rest of the year, and then we'll figure out next year when next year gets here. So I have them not in really any particular order, but I put all the like clicky ones at the front because those are the ones that I'm pretty sure are going to leave some sort of ridge on the other side, like my Pilot G2. And then I kind of move into some that I really have no idea. And then the ones at the end are the ones that I have a lot more faith in. These are the ones that got recommended the most, the Micron and the Sharpie Pen, as like it doesn't leave a ridging or a shadow. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. It's a pretty new Pilot G2, so it's not super thick. Yeah, totally ridging on the other side. All right, there were a lot of comments for the Ink Joy, but I just think it's gonna have the same problem as the Pilot G2. Yeah, definitely ridging on the other side. All right, I'm not gonna check all of these. Oh, this is a brand new pen. Every single time. I'm gonna just kind of write them and then we'll go through them at the end. Some of these pens I just found, like I literally scrounged my apartment. Oh, this is a new one too. For every single black pen that I owned that wasn't permanent. I also went through my desk at work to see if I could find any there. I also went through the supply closet at work to see if I could find any there. Sorry, I was like, I don't know how to spell this. And then I went to the drugstore and then I got the Sharpie pen because that was one of the highly recommended ones, but I didn't have it. I thought I did, but I couldn't find one. So I did go buy that one. Everything else though is either from my desk somewhere or work somewhere. I don't feel like I've ever heard of this pen, but I found it somewhere at work. Oh, I kind of like this. It's a little bit thinner than I normally would go. Oh, there we go. I was like, is that pen gonna work? That one's a little too gray. Somebody did recommend using a gray Papermate Flare, which I think is a really great idea. That would help with the shading, but that one I'm gonna have to order special online. And I wanted to do this pen test, so. All right, this one does not write very well. I don't know if that's the pen's problem, like if this is just an old pen or if that's like the type of pen. This is the, I don't know if this, what this is called. This is the Muji pen. I knew it was gonna be too thick or too thin for me. We have the Villa Beautiful pens. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate them, but it's not the greatest. And then this is just, you know, literally a classic Bic pen. I just don't really love writing with them. Like that one I think is gonna pass the tests that I said, but I just don't like the way that writes. And then for comparison, that definitely is the thickest one that I've used so far. But again, shadows. And then we have the Tombow Mono. I grabbed the Erin Condren pen or marker. I really would prefer to use the thick side rather than the thin side, but the thin's not bad either. I could also do, I know that Jen Dufour from Jen Plans, she will do where she uses the thick side of the EC for like timed stuff and then the thin side for like to-dos. I do like the Micron, which was, again, one of the really highly requested or highly recommended pens I asked on Instagram. And then we have the Sharpie Pen, which again, this is brand new. Neither of those are as thick as my Papermate Flare, but if we're gonna have no shadowing. So flip it over to the back. All these first ones all have a ridging on the back of them. I mean, the best one, no, they all do. Yeah, they all do. Now, I do have a very heavy hand. I have to also caveat that, so just something to keep in mind. That first one is not so bad. Whatever this Pilot Liquid Flare is, it's this one. That one's not so bad. Somebody did recommend the Le Pen. That one does shadow. It actually almost bleeds with my heavy hand. This next one, the Uniball, that one has a ridging. All of those have a ridging. Even the Bic Round Stick actually has a little bit of a ridging. So we don't really have smooth until we get to that last, like this whole set of pens, which doesn't surprise me. Like these are the ones that are gonna have a felt tip and they're not gonna be, there's not gonna be any ridging. The EC thick one's actually the worst of all of them. And then the Papermate Flare. The Tombow Mono isn't bad, but I think everybody was right. I think the best two are somewhere between this Micron and the Sharpie Pen. So I'm gonna play with these two a little bit more and just write a couple more things to really get a feel for how they write, and then I'll pick one. So truthfully, writing with them feels pretty much the same. Like I don't really feel any difference. So let's just flip over to the back. They're also pretty much the same in terms of a shadow. The Sharpie Pen might be a little bit darker, but again, they're very, very close. So honestly, I don't really have a preference. I think I'm gonna go with the Micron. I think it's a little bit thicker and I think it shadows a smidge less, but truthfully, they're very, very close. So let me show you this week. So I went ahead and set up Monday yesterday so that I would have something going on today. And then what I did is I used this sticky notepad from Cultivate What Matters. I got this idea from someone on Instagram. I'll link her handle on the screen. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but she showed that these fit almost perfectly in these Petite planners. Now, when she posted it, she said it fit perfectly, and then I put it in and I was like, not quite perfectly. I did trim the corner because it was sticking out, and then I had to trim the bottom. You can see I kind of cut into the word there because I wrote on it while it was still on the notepad, and then I stuck it in here and it was a little bit too big. So I did have to trim it. But what I like about this is I can still plan my whole week in advance and all the things that I want to do and get done without writing it on future days, because that is another way to avoid the shadowing, is not writing on future days, which kind of defeats the purpose of using a daily. But like if I go and write down something that I have to do on Wednesday, I will see it on Tuesday. It did work really well on Monday where I could see the full week. I guess I could put it here. That's ridiculous. Like, and I was like, I won't be able to see it if I, you know, put it on Wednesday, but why do I have to put it on the next day when I could just put it here? Let's see if I can squeeze that in there. I'm gonna have to trim this other corner too. And then now I can go ahead and start on Tuesday. So I'm keeping the same setup that I did last week where I do morning, and these are things I try to get done before work. day, these are things that I'm trying to get done at work or during lunch. Somebody asked me that on Instagram. These are just sort of habits that I want to do while I'm at work, or things that I want to do at lunch or need to be done during the day, whether it's going to the post office or whatever. And then if I have an appointment, I will put it usually between the day and the evening. So the morning stuff right now, all I'm sort of putting down in the morning is that I want to make sure that I read a little bit. And then I want to make sure that I brush my teeth with my at-home toothbrush, not my work toothbrush. And then on Tuesday morning, I originally had that I was going to run, but I actually have something to get to at 8:30. So there's not going to be, I mean, there is time, but it's an appointment that I need to fast for. So I'm not going to try and run on an empty stomach. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that appointment in there instead of running. I'm tempted to cross that off, but I'm actually not going to, because I want this to still look somewhat nice. I mean, obviously I'm scribbling things all over and I'm crossing things out, but I still, if I'm going to look at this all week, I want to keep it as clean sort of as possible. All right. And then during the day, I actually only put birthdays. I gave up on my standing desk for now. Not gonna lie. I don't know. We'll get back to that. Let me know. Do you have a standing desk? Are you good about using it? Is it just a habit that I have to get into because I'm not good about using it? And it's kind of a waste of space. All right, and then the other thing I want to get done during the day is a grocery list so that when I go to Whole Foods, I'm ready to go. And then between day and evening, I'm going to Weight Watchers. And then once I get home, I'm gonna cook dinner, one of my HelloFresh meals, and then I'm going to go to Whole Foods. And that's probably it. We'll see how much time that ends up taking by the time I get home from Weight Watchers and cook and go to Whole Foods and all that stuff. We'll see how much time is left before I put anything else down. Trying to be a little bit more realistic. In terms of things I actually want to get done, I don't actually have it on this list, but I want to order a few things from Amazon for our trip. And I still have time. I mean, with 2-day shipping, I have plenty of time, but I want to get that done today. And then I think that's it for now. Now, I will tell you, I will add stuff as it pops up. Like when I set up Monday, I think it only had these first 2 things and these got added and this got added. I like using this blank space as sort of a place to put a grocery list, or in this case, I put my drugstore list. So I might do that here too with the Whole Foods list. Otherwise, I think that's all that I'm going to put down for now. Oh, let me see here. It isn't bad. The shadowing isn't bad. I still don't know that I want to set up Wednesday and put morning, because then I'm going to see it. I might do Thursday because I don't have to look at that one. If you use one of these planners, I know some of you commented last week, do you set it up, a week in advance, or do you do it one day at a time? I think one of the benefits of using a daily planner is that you do it one day at a time, and it gives you that freedom. And then we have the November monthly. Oh my gosh, it's almost November. All right, I think that's going to be it for the setup for now. Also, last week, I sort of set up an Erin Condren folio as a whole that I was going to use with a bunch of these in it. I was out of that before that Plan With Me even went up. I don't like having them in the folio. It just feels constricting. And then the only other Petite planner that I really ended up using was the wellness planner. So I did do a pretty good job last week of using it. I really like this setup as well, where I put whatever workout I'm doing on one side. I put my Apple Watch stats in this column. I just draw a line down the middle. This I fill in as it's intended to. And then the meals I used kind of half and half as a prep, and then also as tracking. So for the most part, I can set it up in advance, like which HelloFresh meal I'm gonna cook and is there gonna be leftovers for the next day. Then some of it I filled in as I went as more of a tracking. I have not set it up for this week. I don't know if I'm going to. This week is a little bit crazy. I'm just trying to prep for vacation, so I'm trying not to get too concerned about this, but I do want to get back into using this a little bit more consistently. So all I was doing last week was putting these 2 planners with each other, and then there's some pens in there, and then wrapping this around it. And that was sort of my system last week. I didn't use a folio. I just took these 2 guys with the pen case and went on my way. So that's probably what I'm gonna stick with for now, and we'll see in the future, maybe next week I can dip my toe back into the vertical, but for now I'm going to stick with just this daily. I think it's helping a little bit with the planner funk and definitely helping with my productivity. So that's going to be it for this video. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Happy planning!